Hey Deckers, if you were looking to play Zenless Zone Zero on the Steam Deck, then I've got fantastic news for you. Not only is this working fantastically well, it's getting a pretty solid 60 frames per second with our recommended settings, and you can install it directly through the Ho-Yo launcher or through the Epic's Game Store with no issues at all. If you go in the Epic Games Store route, obviously you've got many options. You can check out our Junk Store video if you want to use that, or the Epic launcher directly, as well as even Heroic. If you want to use it directly on the deck with the Ho-Yo launcher, then check out our full installation guide, which I'll also link in the description below. As you can see though, it looks extremely good and is holding a pretty good 60 frames per second, even with all those special effects going on. So if we look at the settings, weirdly it doesn't quite have the 1280 by 800 as we would expect. It's got these windowed modes, but I did leave it at the default strange 1728 by 1080 resolution, which did look fantastic on the OLED deck. Capping this at 60 is the best option, but I'm just going to uncap it and leave it with the default medium preset, just so you can get a feel for how this actually performs uncapped and with the default settings. You will see that it doesn't quite hold that 90 anyway, which is why we're going to cap it at 60 in a little while. But even as we're moving around in the town with not a huge amount of stuff going on, it dips even into the 60s as we have some of those transition scenes, and also when we're just moving around the town as well. So not super stable in that default settings, and that's why we're going to make a couple of tweaks. But I'm just going to show you in combat with it capped at 60 with that medium default, and you'll see that we get some pretty hefty dips when we have a load of special effects going off. Even as low as the 30s it will suddenly spike to for no apparent reason. Although this is in cutscene type sections, you're not going to pay a huge amount of attention to it. And if you don't have the FPS overlay, you're probably not going to notice it too much, and it does also push it up to around that 19 watt mode. However, if we just make a couple of tweaks and come into that medium preset and change shadows down to medium and the shading quality also down to medium, things stabilize a massive amount. Now, we don't get those spikes down into the 30s at all. Occasionally it will dip into the 50s during some of these massive sections, but overall it's extremely stable, and it brings that wattage down to the 17 mark, giving you about an extra 15 to 20 minutes battery life as well. Now obviously you could cap this down at 30 and really bring that wattage down if you wanted to, but it is a high motion game, so having that 60 frames per second really keeps that fluidity in place and makes the game look super smooth and really good on that wattage as well, keeping it under 20 watts for the most part. So that's our best settings. Hopefully you guys will get into Zenless Zone Zero more than I am. I think I might end up going back to Wuthering Waves. Just need to get it working properly on the deck. Let us know in the comments below if you're diving into this one or looking elsewhere. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.